Is technology at your work distracting you from actual work? Do you spend too much time troubleshooting PC or internet issues? IT Enabled can help. Our team of IT specialists can help you tackle your technology troubles and get you focused on growing your business in no time. Call to schedule your technology consultation. 936-225-3329. IT Enabled. We're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Connect, connecting business to community. I'm here today with my co-host Blake Polino with BP Media Group.
So in this week's episode, we sit down with Brant Lee and Taylor Camiato with the Lufkin Convention Visitors Bureau and the Lufkin Convention Center to learn about these really, really great, just awesome resources that we have here in East Texas that sometimes we might even take for granted how great they are for a city our size. So let's jump into that episode now.
Well, welcome back to a new episode of Connect. We're so excited today to have Taylor Camiato and Brant Lee with us, both from the city of Lufkin, with the CVB and the Pittsburgh Garrison Convention Center. So we're going to turn it over to y'all. Why don't you introduce yourself and give a little background?
All right. So I'm Taylor. I used to work with Tara, actually. I'm from Flower Mound, Texas. I went to college in Natchitoches, Louisiana at NSU. Played soccer there, got my degree in hospitality management and travel tourism. And when I went to do my internship, came to Lufkin to do it at Crown. That's when I met Tara.
And I stole her.
Yes. So then I was Tara's admin with the CVB. And then when she tragically left us to come to the chamber, I was promoted to the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I'm also now the director of downtown Lufkin. So
Very cool.
That's a little bit about me.
Yeah. So I am Brant Lee. I'm the director of convention services. So that kind of encompasses multiple departments. We have our convention center, our Pines Theater, our CVB, which Taylor's director, our downtown Lufkin, and then some emergency management. Background, I grew up in the area here, attended Central ISD. Also got an amazing wife, April, daughter, Cameron, that attends Texas A&M, a daughter, Maddie, that's graduating this year, going to be attending UT Tyler in the fall, and then just had a newborn. Sweet little girl, Parker Kate. So my life has been busy. I'm outnumbered at home.
Yeah.
I've got women right here beside me, so no different.
All around.
You're covering the full spectrum
right.
on that too, man. That's awesome.
My background is hospitality. I worked with Marriott before, so just in general dealing with the public, working for the public. I've been with the city of Lufkin for 9 years. Worked with Tara previously. And just wanted also in this opportunity to thank both you and Tara for providing this podcast. It's been really enjoyable since September.
Thank
what you guys have done. It's been a lot of different aspects in the community. Yeah. I think people are picking up on all different natures of what Lufkin does and Angelina County. And just want to thank you guys. I know it's not just an easy thing just to do this weekly, but it's been really interesting to hear you guys from September.
Thanks for those kind of words. We appreciate that.
We'll have you on next week.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
We sure appreciate that. Can you tell us kind of each for what you do, just kind of a general overview about what it is, with the Visitors Bureau and then the Convention Center as well?
Sure. So the CVB, we kind of act as a concierge, is what we say, for Lufkin.
That sounds fancy.
I know, and it's fancy.
Concierge.
And for those that don't know what CVB is, it's
Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was shortening that. It's a mouthful.
It is.
So, like I said, we're kind of a concierge when we have visitors coming from out of town, looking for things to do, places to stay, things to eat, all of that. We are trying to direct them to eat local, shop local, stay in our hotels, as well as we provide events for the community for not just our locals, but we want to, like I said, draw those out of towners here. Kind of one of our sayings is we like heads and beds. We are funded through hotel motel tax. So the more people that stay in our hotels, the more funding we have, the more events we can do, the more great things we can do for the community. Awesome. So that's just kind of a quick overview.
And that ties in a lot with the Convention Center.
So Convention Services, like I said, we oversee that department. We have the Convention Center, our Pines Theater. So basically, anything in our Convention Center, we have conferences, we have emergency management, we have public events, banquets, weddings, etc. Of course, downtown, that encompasses, now the easiest way to say that, Chamber's familiar with this. It translates to no personal life. You know, everything is at night. It's on the weekend. So it's a lot of work after hours. You're 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Taylor and me are grinding out those details that are very, very important when you're working with events for the public. And then you move forward to it's go time at night or on the weekend. But it's very interesting. We're fortunate. We're blessed. We have a really good city council. We have really good city administrators, Bruce Green, Jason Arnold, Gerald Williamson. They are right there for everything we need. They back and support everything that we do in our department. So it's big when you have that team atmosphere that makes it, I always say it's not just one person or two people that make something successful. You got to have a team. And we're fortunate to have a really good team with us.
Yeah, and it keeps you guys busy. I don't think Brant and I ever officially met at any point. I would just see him at everything that was happening. Just there was something going on at the convention center or an event. He was just running around, and we just I think got to know each other through that. Can you tell us about kind of the convention center? I mean, it's a really, really nice place. Especially for a town our size.
Not many people are familiar. It was built in 1976. Everybody knows back then, but it was redone with the help of natural disaster money through FEMA in 2012. So it was remodeled. It's over 56,000 square feet. So it's a massive facility. It's one of the biggest facilities from Houston to Dallas that there is. So that's key when we're trying to promote and recruit conferences and conventions to bring into Lufkin. We have the accommodations. In a dream world we'll probably get into later, wants and needs in the future, but possibly a hotel would be key and that tying in. But we're fortunate to have that facility. It can accommodate a ton of things. As far as audio, video, we have everything that you can imagine to get those needs. So it's a one-stop shop. We really like to think that people can come in. We're going to take care of the catering. We're going to take care of AV. We're going to provide even transportation, whatever those needs are. We feel like our service is kind of what sets us apart from everybody else.
That's right. You have a great team. I don't think people realize, in your attic, you have how many cots and you've got showers available so that when natural disasters do occur, you are the go-to place that, people come to. You are the shelter.
Well, and speaking of that, just recent, everybody's aware of the winter storm that we had and all the ice, all the snow. So, Monday we got a phone call. We're going to open up as a evacuee shelter for our citizens, which was key. Everybody was losing power. Then we went into losing water. But we housed over 250 people.
That's great.
We fed over 1,000 meals Monday through Saturday morning. We had tremendous partnership locally with Brookshire Brothers and Tomei Catering providing those meals. And then the other thing that kind of, we're in our world right there taking care of everybody. We had medical fire and police there helping us. But what was interesting is we kind of were in our world taking care of the needs of those citizens right there. But it was neat to see right outside the doorway, right outside at local churches. You had everybody helping with food drives, with distributing bottled water. I know Tara was a part of a food drive where they cooked on site at a Timber Creek church. So, I mean, we're engulfed in what we do, but it's amazing when you take a step back and see what everybody, and I think that's what Lufkin is. I mean, they just step up continually to take care of, people in Lufkin.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
It is. And that's been such a common thread on this podcast. It's just, it's unbelievable how many people have echoed that and said, what a great community this is and how willing to help. We did a whole month on nonprofits and talk about how many nonprofits we have here because people are just willing to go out of their way to help people. It's really, really, really great stuff. So let's talk about the Visitors Bureau for a little bit. So tell me, you touched on it a little bit, but how is that funding made possible? How do you guys operate on the day-to-day? How does that work?
Okay, so like I touched on, like you said, we are funded through hotel motel tax. So, every time someone stays in a hotel room, there's tax involved, and then a portion of that goes to the city.
Gotcha.
They use that funding not just for us. It also funds part of the convention center as well as other community events and things. It doesn't all come to us. So there's actually a hot board. Tara's on that board. We have to apply to annually for our events to get funding that helps, to promote those events and advertising, all that sort of thing. There's different criteria you have to meet. But, with it being our main source of funding as the CVB, it's really important for us to make sure that we're bringing people from out of town. So, that goes for advertising Lufkin, advertising our shops. With COVID and things, we were really having to focus on our outdoors. People weren't wanting to travel and stay in hotels, so that was hurting us, obviously. So we were having to focus on what Lufkin had that people could still travel and do. A lot of people bought campers and they were staying in tents and they were doing that sort of thing during COVID. And Lufkin has a lot to offer outside of, 4 walls. So we've got trails and we've got the awesome zoo. So that was really key for us pushing this past year, just getting through that. It was a big hit on the whole tourism industry, not just here in Lufkin. Sure. So, I think that we came out and we are looking up. So we're really looking forward to that. And I'm just glad we made it on the other side.
Yeah, the hot board actually funds, like Taylor said, it doesn't just fund things that the CVB does.
Right.
So it actually helps fund the Chambers Nature's River Rendezvous. It helps fund all the events that happen at the George H. Henderson Expo Center.
That's great.
It helps fund the Angelina Arts Alliance, helps fund different projects at the Naranaho Museum of Natural History, not disaster. We've been talking about natural disaster. Natural history. Sorry, Dr. Neal.
That'd be an interesting museum.
Yeah, exactly. So there's so many things in this community that the Hot Fund Board funds.
It's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. And it's a great way if you know that you've got something that's bringing in extra people to our community. You ought to check in to the Hot Board.
Because anyone can apply. It's
Absolutely.
You just have to be non-for-profit.
Not-for-profit. You can be a C6 or a C3.
There you go.
And I think key to that when that was created 2 to 3 years ago was the city, even though we receive all the funding and we're dependent on that funding, we applied just like every other entity in town. And I think that's key. It's transparent. And there's a board that lets you know, and they approve everything. So I think that's key. We always want to be transparent, but I think that's a really good thing that Taylor and her department does in that area.
And you're not guaranteed. I mean, we approve that, that we're funding you, but then you have to come back after your event within so many days, and you have to prove how many people stayed and how many people you brought in, because if it flops, you don't get funded.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't count your eggs till they hatch.
That's right.
So let's talk about some events that you do.
Yes.
Why don't you tell about
I'm trying. So it's been such a crazy year. I'm like, what all do we do? Yeah. So a big one that you actually started, then coming up, in October will be the 10th annual.
I believe 10 years.
Yeah.
Lufkin's Bistro. Well, so last year was supposed to be the 10th annual.
Yeah.
It got canceled because of COVID. So we're looking forward to it. It should be first Saturday in October. Lufkin's Bistro. We're planning to sell the most tickets we've sold. So we're going for 1,000.
Yay.
It's such a fun event. If you haven't been, it's a food wine festival. The wine is donated through Brookshire Brothers, which we're so fortunate to have them as partners. Absolutely. And then we get all of our local restaurants to partner, and they come downtown and they serve appetizers, and it's samples. It's meant to be samples, not just a meal. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people show up and they're planning to eat a dinner, and you're like, no, you're sampling. so they can go around. They try the wines, the beers, the food, and the streets are just lined with tables, and we've got music, and it is just such a magical evening, especially with the lights downtown. That's a great event. Yeah. Tara did a great job starting that, and I'm glad that I could.
It's so fun though to now it's fun to show up now and be this is great.
Yeah, just
I don't set up and I don't take down.
Yeah. What goes into it.
So it's just it's almost overwhelming to walk the streets now as someone who stands on the outside and to think this is still working. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the most sought after events in our area. Mm-hmm. People love that event.
Yes.
And people from out of town love that event. Yes. And I feel like a proud mom when I stand there and watch it.
You should.
It's still working.
Should.
But it's fun. I'm so glad that it's coming back this year.
Well, yes. We're hoping the main thing for this year is just going to be because of COVID and resources and things, getting the alcohol donated from those providers and things like that. So, but we're looking hopeful.
Yeah, that's right. Being positive.
We're going to have it. So 10th annual, 1,000 people. You'll want to get your tickets fast because they sell out quick. We have in the past. We do Lufkin's Farm Feast, which was also a
These are yours now.
fun.
These are all yours.
But I still want to give you credit, which is a really fun. It's a wine paired dinner. We would do it at the farmers market. One long, beautiful table. We have some gorgeous like yellow umbrellas that just make it pop. If you've seen the photos on Facebook or Instagram, that's always a really fun evening.
And when is that one?
That's in October.
October.
Normally end of October. We don't have a set date or anything
Gotcha.
like that yet. So then, let's see, going into the winter months, we also help with, we normally do some sort of veterans celebration in November. Got to honor our veterans. This past year we did, gosh, I forget what I called it. A
Kind of a wall of honor.
Walk of honor.
Yeah,
Walk of honor. That's what it was. Because we couldn't really gather.
Right.
But our downtown shops, we put up photos of submitted photos of our veterans in all the shop windows. So if you did get to walk down there, it was really pretty
great.
neat. They were lining the windows. And then in December, we do the City of Lufkin Christmas Parade. We have the Christmas in the Pines Festival, which is now centered around Rudolph, who was moved downtown. So we're honored to have Rudolph downtown. And honored to have created an event around him because it's such a key thing for the community and
It is.
for us to bring everybody out there and come to downtown and do all of that.
You also have a heritage festival.
We do have a heritage festival, so I skipped right over that one. That's in September. And in the past, it was at the convention center, kind of its own thing. This past year, we partnered it with one of our downtown events, Main Street Market Days, and that really worked well.
That's great.
As long as weather's cooperating. So we bring in like dancers, cultural dancers, different performers, and then we also have the vendors, and it's a really neat event.
That's awesome.
Free for the community. We do Spring Fest in April, so we just got done with it. So that's always a fun event. That's another free event downtown Lufkin. We've got vendors, we've got petting zoo, we've got a car show. This year we partnered with Angelina Arts Alliance. They brought in the bike zoo, which was a really neat,
That's cool.
yes, interactive bikes made into giant animals. So
That's fun.
always something fun. We're hoping next year to start what we called a chalk walk. We're going to have like a giant chalk art competition.
Cool.
So hopefully next year we'll be past all the COVID stuff. We'll do that. And then we are actually getting ready to launch a brand new event in August. We're calling it Lufkin's Glow Show. It's a hot air balloon glow. I had never heard of one before, but they're pretty popular. We're going to have 12 balloons out at Kit McConaughey Park. I actually have a flyer here. So
pretty.
yes, so they glow at dusk. So we're gonna have live music, vendors out there for that. It will be limited tickets because there's not a ton of parking out there. So we're
Right.
gonna be selling tickets by the car, $30 a car. You can have up to 6 people, however many people you want to cram in your car. And so you come out there. We'll have the music. We'll have the vendors. They'll be doing tethered balloon rides, so you can go up in the hot air
awesome.
balloon. And you're tied, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to blow away. And then at dark, we'll light up all 12 balloons.
That's gonna be so pretty.
Take
That's
photos.
gonna be awesome.
It's going to be very, so we'll on our website, visitlufkin.com, we'll have all the information for that.
Great. We'll be sure to put a link in the show notes for everybody. And that's Saturday, August 7th.
August 7th, yeah,
Awesome.
from 5 to 9:30. So, I mean, I'm probably forgetting stuff. We've got stuff going on
Yeah.
all the time. At least once a month, we're doing something downtown.
Well, that's great.
Market days are First Street Feast, and then, we throw in these other festivals. So, staying busy.
I love when people say there's nothing
I was
to do
just
in
about to
Lufkin.
say that. There's so
I'm like,
much to do.
open your calendar
Yeah.
because we
Right.
will fill it.
There's so
There's
much stuff to do.
always something to do.
Just get involved.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Just get involved, get plugged in, like things on Facebook, go like all of these different organizations.
That really is like the most frustrating thing that we battle, I think,
It's people that say there's nothing to do in Lufkin.
Right. Or,
Yeah.
and you have someone that comes and visits Lufkin, they go to a restaurant and the waiter says, oh, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's
I'm
not
just going to start commenting
right.
the link to your website when people do that. I'm just going to comment the visit
Absolutely.
Lufkin
Exactly.
website.
And that's all you really need to do because it's
There's
all
tons-
there.
there's
We've
tons
got
of stuff.
everything listed. So,
Oh, that's great.
yes.
So, let's talk about what's been going on at the convention center. You've been right in the midst of helping with all of the COVID vaccination clinics and things like that. Why don't you tell about kind of how that got over to you and what's going on now?
Yeah, so it's been a process, just like everything. We were fortunate, Trent Ashby everybody's aware, got involved, we were able to give Angelina County the designation as a hub, which was key.
Yeah.
And able to get those vaccines to our county. We serve also St. Augustine and Polk County, so it's not just Angelina County. But the next step, once we started having those conversations, were where are we going to be able to do this? What's going to be easy for parking? What's going to be easy for in and out, providing the space? So, I mean, all the credit is our Angelina County Health District. They've been amazing. Sharon Shaw, her staff have been great. We've done like what we do in a lot of stuff. We've provided the space, we've provided the layout, we provide our team. We've contributed. They actually gave us a really nice card yesterday that we're going to have on social media here shortly. But they've done things really well. We've met weekly. We've had good conversations with everybody involved, with local judges, with city officials. But they have vaccinated up to 1,500 a day.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing to see that. They're starting to see now, as far as a little bit more of the counties getting vaccinated. You're having a lot of school teachers they've opened it up to, which was key. We think of a lot of time frontline. We think of our police and our fire, but our teachers are right there.
That's
They're
right.
in it every day with 15 to 20 kids in their class. So it was key to get them in. But it's one of those things, just like in y'all's business, it's another thing that you go through. It's another process. I think it's just key being able to communicate and work with people. But they have been great. They've done a great job. They have a great support system. We've been fortunate to be a part of it. And I think it just, to my opinion, my personal opinion, is that it just showcases that the city is willing to jump in and help in any way that's best fit for the citizens, not just for the city of Lufkin, but for Angelina County, and provide that space. And I think that's key in this situation.
Yeah. Well, they're lucky to have y'all as a partner and to be able to bring in, because if you've not been in there yet, you've got one whole room that's all vaccinations, and then one whole room that's a holding room, and then you've got another room that's medical triage room for people that pass out.
It's the full facility.
It's a serious operation.
They've got a keying entry room, and of course, then all the volunteers. I mean, it's well-oiled machine. You pull into the parking lot, they take your information, they park you. They've even got golf carts to get you there.
That's right.
It's a well-oiled machine that they have.
That's awesome. So, Taylor, you and I were visiting the other day, and you were telling me that you now have the July 4th celebration.
We do.
Yeah?
Yes. So that's always been a city event. Technically, Parks and Rec was over that. We have been gifted it, so we are excited for that. This year being our first year to really coordinate it, probably, we're not planning on changing up anything. It's one of those events that it runs itself, and it's a successful event, so why change it if it's working? So we are looking forward to getting that under our belts, kind of see what we're dealing with. It's a huge event for the community, and not just here in Lufkin, but, like we were talking about, the county. They come in for this event. So we are looking forward to that. It'll be July 4th. I may not be there because I'll be home with the baby, most likely. But we are looking forward to it. So the team will. That's one of those things. We got a team.
We could see each other. We could see each other out at the zoo.
We got the team out there, so we are looking forward to that, and that's a free event for the community.
It's a great event.
Yes. So.
Well, I have to say, speaking of team, the chamber and the city and the CVB and Convention Center, we all work so well together, and we all do things to promote our community.
Right.
And not just Lufkin, but Angelina County as well. And it's a great partnership. It's great friendships. I mean, these two are two of my dearest friends, and it was an honor being able to work with y'all and to be able to still work with y'all. And I'm excited. Taylor and I are actually getting to work on a new project together. We were asked to bid on bringing in a convention together, and I have to say that's one thing you and I can do with our eyes blindfolded and our
it's been a little while, but
tied behind our back.
It'll come back to us.
And when you get Brant's team involved in a convention, things just run so smoothly.
Yeah.
And we've always said, even when I was at the city and now at the chamber, you give us a convention and let us do it, and just get out of the way, right? And we'll take care of it. You need to go enjoy the convention and not worry about anything, because.
And I will add to that, Taylor, had commented after and let me know what you guys were working on. And so I said, well, she said, well, they're saying it, they're giving us a challenge.
Yeah.
And here we go. And I said, well, how many people are we talking? They said, well, it could be up to 150. And So that's not a challenge
No,
for you
it's
or
not a
Tara.
challenge.
That's just like
We
you said
started
in
actually
your
laughing.
sleep.
We're like,
It's
we got
Saturday.
this.
Easy 2 or 3 days.
We were
but-
expecting 500,
Right.
and they said 100, and we were like, "Oh, no problem,
Yeah.
no
Okay.
problem."
Totally different.
So, but it is a group that's actually looking at coming in for 4 days, which would be
Yes.
great for hotel motel taxes.
Yes.
They want to tour Lufkin, they want to do great and fun things, and there's so many things to be able to do. So, for anyone that is listening out there, reach out to Taylor. I mean, Taylor is over all the conventions. Yes, the chamber loves to help with that, but that is really the bread and butter of CVB world. And she does a fantastic job in putting on conventions, and they've got a great team. So if you are part of an organization who travels to conventions, talk about bringing that convention to Lufkin and letting the Lufkin group take care of you and to be able to showcase your home, not just traveling somewhere else. Because
just to touch on that too, maybe you're not having a convention, but there's a sporting event or something going on here in Lufkin. We can always help with the hotel rooms. We get room blocks with all the hotels,
that's good to know.
discounted rates. So we can help with all of that stuff. Getting caterers, we can still organize.
catering, looking for places to meet if you've got a large group that needs to meet and have dinner. They know all of that stuff. So reach out.
Make it easy on yourself.
That's right. That's right. Take the stress off. Also, we get so many calls about wanting You'll Love Lufkin shirts, and those are actually done at the CVB. So I'll hold those up. This is their new shirt they're available in multiple colors, long sleeve. They're the softest. They're my favorite T-shirts.
The best.
To the point that our neighbor years ago joked and said, "Do you have any other T-shirt?" And I was like, "Well, I have Seaside and You'll Love Lufkin shirts."
That's
So
all we
I
got. They are very comfortable.
They're
I
great.
love that.
So if you're looking for great T-shirts for baskets and things like that,
Lots of color options,
them a call.
all of that. Yeah, and so it's $10 for a short sleeve and $15 for long sleeve.
Hey, that's a great deal for a shirt.
Great deal.
So this kind of teed this up a little bit for you, but kind of talk about the future, like what's on the horizon for both organizations and the convention center. And you had kind of talked a little bit about a hotel. Kind of what's like big dreams. What's the plans for the future? What would and how can people help? Like, that's an important part.
I think the big thing is COVID kind of, I think it woke everybody up. You know, it made you realize how important certain things that are staples that will be staples forever. Customer service, communication, all those things, those will never go away.
Right.
And how important those are. So I think going forward, we have some exciting things that we're looking at. We actually have Bob Sanford, Economic Development. I know he's been on and chatted with you guys, but they have a project that's going Lufkin forward. We're working with Taylor and myself and him with their board. They've got a consulting group. We're just going to call them AR because I'm not even going to try to
It's a hard
pronounce that, but
It is.
AR. They are amazing. I mean, they get up, eat breakfast, and work on downtown consulting projects.
right.
That's
They're
what
out
they
of
do for a
Austin.
living.
Out of Boston.
So they've been great. There's information right now that's going to be coming forward. The stuff that we can share, right now is public art. We're going to, public restrooms, looking at road closure, looking at arts and cultural district. So all those things kind of tie in when we talk about multiple departments with our downtown, our convention center. So you're going to have connecting sidewalks is the goal. The vision would be down the road to have businesses, boutiques that go from downtown all the way to the convention center.
Yep.
And then ideally we have a boutique hotel that's right there beside. We're talking a 50 to 60 room hotel, nothing massive, but something. And the other thing that we're fortunate that when we have these conversations with these other groups is that we have 2 wonderful hospitals. I mean, a lot of people come here for our hospitals. We have a great medical community. And with them being located close to our downtown, we see that this boutique hotel would benefit as well off of that hotel. The other thing that it ties into when we start talking economic development is every time that we talk to anybody wanting to bring a new business to Lufkin or recruitment for a company and number of employees, all those conversations, the first thing their CEO, president's going to ask is, what's the quality of life? What's your downtown?
Yeah.
Right.
What is there for my employees to do? How are the school districts? All those things. So we play a big part in that. I think this Lufkin Forward, it's recognizing it. One thing that's been key is all the committees, all the groups that we've met with have been in a wide diversity in a wide age range. And, I think it's key that even though myself, I may enjoy certain things about downtown, we need to provide opportunities that are different for each individual. We want downtown to be diverse. We want it to have all different options. We see a little park, a little maybe miniature park where you can bring your family.
I love that.
Petting, where you can bring your dog down there to the park, pick up a cup of standpipe coffee or a glass of wine,
Live music
hang out,
area.
live music. So it's very exciting because I do think it's the direction we're headed in. We always kind of joke with Bob that we're his biggest two cheerleaders because he's fixing to provide more tools in our toolkit.
right.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're just going to be able to work extremely in a better situation. And I think Lufkin, in between Houston and Dallas, it's primed to kind of get to that spot. The key is the transition is you want to provide this small town atmosphere and still grow.
Right.
I think the value of people, we're starting to see a trend that people historically would go, they would leave here, they would go to college, they would never come back. We're starting to see a trend where people, the value of raising a family is key to come back to Lufkin. They say, hey, that's where I want to raise my family. So providing that quality of life plus not growing where you still don't have that hometown atmosphere is kind of the middle ground that you're trying to find.
Yeah, that's great. That's really,
Great
really
things are
great
to
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Things are to come.
Yeah, well, that's super exciting. Well, is there anything else that you want to add about your organizations that we didn't get to cover today that you think our listeners need to know about or anything like that?
I don't know. I think you'll love Lufkin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you on Facebook.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yes. Follow us
No.
on Facebook.
Go to Visit Lefkin. Follow
Check
them on
it out.
Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of departments that I would probably just get people up to date to kind of piggyback off 4th of July. My club does an amazing job. We
Right.
could not have that without his participation. What he does, and then our departments in the city. We have our street department, our solid waste, our parks and rec, our PD and fire. I mean, it's a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
We kind of, when we visit with Mike and talk about his event, we compare it as a big staple in Angelina County to Forest Festival,
Yeah.
to
Yes.
Bistro,
right.
to Rudolph. When you think of a big public event in Angelina County, that's
you
one of the
have
first ones you think of.
Thousands of people
Yes.
that come out that day.
So that's, something that's on the horizon. Downtown Lufkin, I think a lot of people, we always try to plug and give information. There's over 25 full-time downtown residences. So people live in downtown. And not a lot of people realize that. So we think of downtown with our shopping and supporting
Right.
that, but it's actually now being a hub for people that want to live downtown.
That's great.
It's key. The other is our Pines Theater, I think is the key thing. It's our anchor of downtown. Tara was with that from the beginning to where we are now. Our Pines Presents, kind of like the Bistro. It grew from something, here's an idea and run with it.
That's right.
And here's your job and make it successful. And here we are today.
That's right.
Doing it 10 years later. A lot of credit to Tara for kind of taking that task and tackling it. And, just like these other events we've mentioned, she's, walked away and just handed us a really good opportunity to, it's almost like don't screw this up. It's doing really well. So
You're doing great. You're doing great.
but those are some things that I think listeners, we always, even Tara, when we get in there, we're speaking, to Leadership Lufkin or any other group that's in town. First thing we always say is, raise your hand if you've never been in the Pines Theater, and we're still
It's
10
shocking.
years later,
Yeah.
it's still shocking.
Yeah.
So
Or
it's,
even just downtown. Have you
Yeah.
been downtown?
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's-
And so it's still trying to find that plug. We're starting to see, 30 and under, they're getting all their advertisement in social media. It's Twitter and Snapchat, Instagram. So there's different ways that you've got to hit advertising.
Absolutely. Well, very cool.
Well, we appreciate y'all being
Yeah.
here so much.
Oh, this
Thanks
was
for
easy.
having us.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
I told you
I
it'd be
told you it was
easy.
like
Easy.
hanging out.
Not bad at all. Well, thank y'all so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate your time. This has been super informative. We want to thank you so much for listening to the podcast this week. We truly appreciate everybody that listens to this. I say this every week, I feel like, but we're genuinely blown away by the support this podcast has received and the number of people who are downloading this every week and listening to it. We want to thank you so much for doing that. Please rate and review the podcast wherever you are. If you like the podcast, leave us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening to this podcast. If you don't like the podcast, probably just skip that. And I don't really know why you've listened this long anyway.
Let us know.
Or let us know if there's something that you think we should change. Or if you want to give some feedback on the podcast, we would absolutely love that. And if you want to catch the video version of this podcast, it's available on the Chamber Facebook page and on the Chamber YouTube channel. And we will see you next week.